Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is actually kind of spontaneous because I had no intention of filming today. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I, about 3 weeks ago, adopted a senior dog named Herman. And he is about, they thought 13 and a half, but my vet's now saying probably like 14 or 15 years old. This has totally changed my life. I got a couple requests to do this when I was already considering it. So I was like, this is a sign, I'm gonna go ahead and film it. All right, so this is Herman. Oh, he's a very old man. We're gonna put him on his back because he's a big baby. This is the wonderful and amazing Herman. Backstory on Herman. Oh, baby. Oh, I know. Baby boy. He's such a love bug. This is him all the time. He's just a big baby. If you're new here, I have an incredible dog named Prince. He is chewing on a bone on the carpet and I'm not gonna disrupt him. But here are some photos of my incredible white floofer Maltese named Prince. He's my best friend, could not imagine my life without him. One day, I went on NKLA, the website, which is a shelter out here in Los Angeles, and I saw this dog online, Herman, just the cutest, fluffiest little teddy bear. And I was like, oh my God, he's adorable. I sent some pictures to my friends and I'm like, tell me I should not adopt this dog right now. Anyway, brushed it off, left it alone, and then spontaneously, NKLA was having a huge adoption event. I guess they have these, I don't know how often they have them, but they were having one, and they were having promo puppies that were like $25 because I'm assuming it was kind of like, hey, we know that these are some dogs that are probably not gonna get adopted. We'll go ahead and decrease the price from, you know, 100, 200, 250 bucks to 25, and then you could save a dog's life and give them a new home. Mr. Herman here was a promo puppy. He was a $25 puppy. I did not go into this with some, you know, superhero mindset of like, I'm gonna adopt a senior dog and change the world. No, I was just like every other person who was like, I want a puppy, I wanna adopt a cute little fluffy puppy, and I experienced it and I was like, this isn't right. That's just a thought. If you think that you could never be that person, you'll be surprised. You could totally be that person. That changes your mind like I did. I was automatically drawn to Herman. To this guy. Herman was rescued from a high kill shelter. I believe he was gonna be euthanized the next day, or it was like sometime that week he was gonna be euthanized. Normally when no kill pick them up, it's because they're gonna be euthanized, you know, sooner rather than later. Herman was gonna be euthanized and NKLA took him in, and this was about 2 years ago that he was rescued from that shelter. So he was probably already like 12 or 13 years old. A few months later, he was rescued by a family. They brought Herman into their home. And for 2 years, they neglected him. They neglected him for 2 years and brought him back in horrible, I mean, devastating condition. He was covered in fleas and ticks. One of his eyes were basically ruined, which is still a thing now. Was just horribly sick. They basically wrote on the notes, like there was no connection with him for that 2 years. He was most likely living in a backyard with no interaction with people whatsoever. And they brought him back and, you know, he was in this horrible condition and I adopted him 2 weeks later. The moment he saw me, he wagged his tail and everybody was like, oh my God, Herman literally never wags his tail. And me even owning him now, I can attest to that. Herman has wagged his tail like 3 times. He does not do it often. It's like, I'm not looking to adopt. I don't think. I am looking to adopt, but I don't know if I want to do this. And they were like, no worries. We have a foster to adopt program. You can foster him. And then if you decide that you want to keep him, then he is yours. And I was like, okay. So I brought my dog Prince to come and meet him and they totally got along fine. Prince was not feisty whatsoever. If anything, he got a little excited, sniffed him out, realized Herman wasn't very healthy, and he kind of gave him a space and let me give him love just like this. I took Herman home, and for the whole week, I had no clue what I was gonna do. I was like, I'm just gonna foster him. But as the days went on, I was just growing more and more attached to him, and I could not imagine him going anywhere else. He needed some TLC. Big time. That's how I adopted Herman. It was as simple as that, as just going in and feeling that connection. I took Herman to my vet, who is the best, and they immediately ran tests on him and told me that my main dude has something called Cushing's disease. The dog's body will produce too much cortisol, which causes a bunch of really rough side effects. Basically, they get a pot belly. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, Herman was allergic to fleas and ticks. So he was having seizures in the backyard by himself and they weren't doing anything anything about it. Just needed to throw that in. He has Cushing's disease. It basically means he has a pot belly, a very small waist. His eyes have kind of a depressed, droopy look. He always kind of looks like he's sad. It weakens their bladder, so he wears diapers. He wears little male wraparound diapers because he pees, no lie, probably 8 times a day. So I just put a diaper on him. But the saddest part I would say is it deteriorates their hind leg muscles. So if you could see his legs right now, actually I'll just show you. His legs are very, very limp, and that's because he does not have a lot of power over them. He slips and slides a lot. He's constantly falling and I mean, he can't jump, he can't do any of those things, and he walks very slowly and he has a wobble. On top of the Cushing's disease, Herman also has a completely rotten mouth. They did not brush his teeth, they did not do teeth cleanings, they just didn't do any of those things. Because the bacteria is so bad in his mouth, he most likely has a heart murmur from that. Point being, Herman has a lot of different health issues going on with him. To give you an idea of what a day with him looks like, I wake up first thing in the morning, I prep their food, prep Prince's and his food. It's dry flakes, and once I pour water into it, it expands and kind of has an oatmeal consistency. Herman's eating the real good quality venison dog food now. After that, I take out 3 pill pockets and I put 3 of his pills on there. One is trilostane to hopefully help with his Cushing's disease, and it will reverse some of these side effects and kind of help him live a more comfortable life. He takes his trilostane, he takes a painkiller, and he takes an antibiotic. Give him those treats, share them with Prince so Prince doesn't feel left out, not the drugs, just the treats. And then he takes 2 different topical eye treatments into his eye. One is an artificial tear and the other is a medicated one. And then put on his diaper, wipe him down with a baby wipe just like you would a baby. Midday, put him back in his stroller. Yes, he has a doggy stroller. Got it on Amazon for $49. Change his diaper again, and then repeat this exact same process again at nighttime. And on top of that, he's an old dog, so he probably has arthritis. And so he's been through literally the ringer. I have no idea what his life was like before me, but I'm sure this is the most consistent thing he's had in his life in a very long time. So that's the story of Herman. I took him in and he's been with me for the last 3 weeks. I want to take some time to answer some questions that I posted on Instagram for you guys, just to, I mean, if there was anything that you guys wanted to ask about him, about adopting a senior dog, I'm gonna go ahead and go straight to Instagram and read some of these questions. So somebody asked, what would you say the hardest part is about fostering or adopting a senior pup? Well, while they're alive is obviously the caring, as far as like the medication and the financial side of it, but the positive times with the dog far outweigh those things. But especially the hardest part is knowing that you never got to see the dog as a puppy. You'll never know what the dog looked like as a puppy. And also just knowing that they don't have long with you, especially in Herman's case, you know? Some people adopt senior dogs that are like 7 and they've still got some time, whereas Herman, you know, he probably has 6 months left of like legitimate comfortable living. Again, the fact that I'm giving him a good home and he's not sleeping in a shelter every night, it far outweighs it all. It's all worth it in the end, but that's definitely the hardest part. Was it a really long process through adoption? A little bit, yeah. I was there for a couple of hours. I was not prepared for that. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a quick 30-minute thing and go. But no, if you have dogs, they wanna introduce the dogs, make sure it's going to a good home. They question you, interview you, all of that stuff. It is a long process, but if you want the dog, you're gonna do whatever you gotta do to get the dog. Somebody asked, although senior dogs are normally potty trained, was Herman potty trained, and was there any work you had to do to perfect it when he came home? So like I said, he has a weak bladder, but he is actually potty trained. He tries to walk to the door, and that's his way of saying like, hey, I'm ready to go outside, which is why I got the stroller, because I tried walking them both, and Prince would be like 8 feet ahead and Herman would be like 8 feet behind. So I got the stroller and it's a lot easier that way, and he doesn't have accidents in the apartment building anymore. This is a great question because I've had so many encounters with this. A lot of people are nervous to adopt senior dogs because they're nervous that their current dogs, who are super energetic, are going to be too rough on the senior dog. Now, it all depends on the breed, but I picked Herman because he has an amazing temperament. On his notes, it said that dogs would just bark in his face and he would just sit there. You know, he was just like, whatever, I don't feel good, I don't want to deal with you. Dogs, when they sniff butts and they sniff their nose, they can learn so much about the dog, and one of them being they can learn if the dog is healthy or not. When Prince met Herman, Prince normally is like pouncing all over with all the pups, like jumping on them and running around and play fighting and biting their ankles, but Prince with Herman is an absolute angel. He just sniffs his little face, maybe gives him a little lick, and he just moves along. Sometimes he'll go and lay next to him, not like cuddled with him, but he'll, you know, if Herman's on one side of the carpet, Prince is like 2 inches away from him, and he keeps him his company. He's just always checking in on him. The only thing he did early on was he would get one of the his little dental bones that I give him, and he would like sit in front of Herman and growl at him and basically be like, this is my turf, this is my bone. And Herman's like, literally, I do not care about your bone. So that was a little thing that he did for the first 7 days, and after that it completely dissipated and there's no jealousy whatsoever. I would not worry. I would definitely have the dogs meet, especially if the dog is sick and it's a senior dog and that's the kind of, you know, route you're trying to go towards. Majority of dogs are gonna be really understanding of that and really be supportive of that as much as a dog can comprehend being supportive. Mr. Herman, is he grumpy? He's not grumpy whatsoever. Okay, someone asked, is it expensive to take care of Herman? Because I remember you said he needs a lot of things. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and I don't want this to scare people away because remember, Herman is a special case. The month of September, I spent $1,200 on Herman. Adopting him was only $25. That was the cheapest part. But vet bills really got expensive. He needed meds. He needed to take a really expensive test to find out if he had Cushing's disease. He needed antibiotics. He needed pain meds for his arthritis. Like, he needed so many different things. And then on top of that, I bought him a new bed. I got him groomed, had to buy him a bunch of diapers. I had to buy baby wipes, and I was also testing different things. Like, I tried to do cloth diapers because they're better for the environment, but he soaks through those because he pees so much. Now that I've tested out everything and I kind of know what works for us, I would say on average between his meds and his food and everything, he'll probably run me about $200 a month. So yes, he is technically an expensive dog, but I bit the bullet. I was like, frick it. Frick that, I'm doing it. Would you recommend adopting a senior dog for a first-time dog owner? Well, that's a really good question. I guess it depends on the circumstances. I personally would, only because in ways, they're easier than a puppy. They really are, you know, they already know who they are, literally, like personality-wise, they know who they are. They're normally more settled down, they're more calm. You don't have to potty train them majority of the time, not always, depending on your circumstance. But majority of the time, they're already potty trained. They already have a pretty good temper. You know what you're getting. There's not gonna be any surprises along the way. You're gonna know if it's an aggressive dog. You're gonna know if it's an alpha dog. You're gonna know what its eating habits are like. You're gonna know when it wants to go to the bed. You're gonna know all of those things. I think it's just a fulfilling feeling as a first-time dog owner to say that you're adopting a senior is a beautiful thing. And if you're lucky enough, a lot of shelters will allow you a foster to adopt program, so you could see just if it's right for you, and you don't have to feel bad if you realize it's not a good match. Yes, he does go to the dog park with Prince. Someone asked, do senior dogs require more affection than pups? Again, it is different for every dog. However, I will speak as if you're asking about Herman, and I'll say that Herman does not require more affection. I would say Prince is actually the most needy dog, and that's my fault because I spoiled him, absolutely spoiled him as a baby. No, Herman is actually happy sleeping wherever. He does not need to be in my lap. However, if he sees me, he'll crawl up to me and come lay next to me, but he doesn't paw at me, he doesn't whimper. He's just the most chill dog of 2017. Okay guys, so I'm gonna just adjust him because my foot is actually falling asleep because he weighs like 20 pounds. So Herm, I'm sorry to wake you. We're just gonna end off this video. But what I will say is if you are considering adopting, please, 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 for the love of Lucy, consider adopting a senior dog. I never in a million years thought that I would adopt a senior dog, or if I thought about it, I was like, yeah, no, but it's gonna be way too much. But not only did I adopt a senior dog, I adopted a special needs dog, a special needs senior dog, but also has in turn given me so much. And please just remember, puppies will always be adopted faster than adults or seniors, and adults will always be adopted faster than seniors. Seniors are generally the last ones to go, and oftentimes they will end up passing away in a shelter, and they need you. They need just as much love as the next person. Just because they're older doesn't mean that their life is any less valuable. Please consider adopting one. If you have the time, if you have the patience, if you have the money, make a difference because they need you, and it is truly, truly, truly life-changing. Just look at this face. You can't tell me you wouldn't want this dog in your life. A dog that doesn't bark, doesn't growl, doesn't snap, just wants to cuddle. Are you kidding me? It's a dream dog. Okay guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about adopting a senior or adopting in general, comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that it was helpful to you, and this is a 30-minute long video now, so this is gonna be fun to edit. Okay, I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next video. Say bye, Herman. Say bye. Wait, stop.